Let's make rice and peas and baked chicken with tossed salad. Now, this is a traditional Jamaican Sunday dinner, rice and peas. Some person call it rice and beans. So the first thing we're going to do is to cook our peas. It's good to kind of soak the peas first, but I didn't get an opportunity to do that. So I'm just going ahead to wash it. You can wash it one or two times. It depends on how your peas is. You could also use a tin peas, but I'm actually doing it from scratch, not using the one in the tin. I don't really love tin food. All right, but if you don't have any time, you can always grab a tin peas. I'm gonna wash it again. Generally, when you're cooking your peas, you can add garlic to it. It's not a must, but it does help. So I went ahead and I added the garlic in. Remember, we're trying to make it as simple as possible for anyone who don't have a lot to cook. By the way, welcome everyone. I am Trina, and on this channel we do all things food, cooking, baking, basically showcase the simplest of meal that can taste really, really good. Now, while we're going to cover it and allow it to cook, don't use a lot of water. It cooks faster that way. Now, the chicken was already seasoned and in our fridge marinating, and went ahead and I'm going to put them into my baking tray. I try to remove all the natural seasoning like onion, garlic, and all those things because I don't want them to be in the baked chicken as yet. It gives it nice spice, but it might get a little bit burnt if you have so much of that while you're baking it. You can use it in your sauce. So I have two small baking tray, so I'm going to use both of them baking the chicken. No, I don't cover it. You can cover it if you want, but when you cover it, it springs a lot of water. But if you stay tuned, you'll see the amount of water that it springs without me even covering it. So I'm gonna put it. My oven was preheat already, so I went ahead and I'm just adding my chicken to the oven. While that is done, let's continue to prepare the meal. We went ahead to test our peas to see what's happening with it. It's not ready. It's not yet ready. So we're gonna cover and add a little water because the water went down, right? Don't add too much now. This way your peas cook faster. While that is done, the natural season that is already left, we're going to add them to a little pot and we're going to make some sauce to baste the chicken. Now you can actually just do your barbecue sauce alone and baste it. But for me, I like to make it. So I'm using ketchup. I'm also going to be using honey and barbecue sauce and a little soy sauce. I like to kind of mix and make my own sauce. It's really, really nice. As I said, you could just use your barbecue sauce alone and base your chicken, but I wanted it has a little bit more spice. So this is something that you can do. You don't have to. Let me say that again, but that's just my choice. Right, so you could also use sugar instead of honey, but I like using the honey, a little bit more natural. But you can go ahead and add a little sugar, take that tanginess from the ketchup. So we're gonna go ahead, mix this around, adding just a little bit of soy sauce. You could add a little bit of browning, just a little tip to give you that nice little dark color to your sauce if you wish. Now I went ahead and add a little bit of water to the plate that I use with my chicken just to get all that nice seasoning and everything out. So you can go right ahead and do that. I went ahead and I just add this to the mixture because I want it to be as thick as possible because with that it allows the chicken to base easier. So you can go ahead and mix it around, okay? And then I'm going to put this to the stove so everything can come to a boil and then make it nice and thick. At this point, you can actually taste to see what it tastes like. You can always taste whenever you're doing your stuff, always taste it to see if it gives it the flavor you want. You could also use pineapple juice, guava juice, whatever it is, depending on the sauce that you make it, it determines your chicken. So we could call this honey barbecue sauce, right? Or honey barbecue chicken. Honey barbecue or honey baked chicken, whatever you could call it based on it, because the sauce is what gives it the name. Well, that is being done. So our peas is on the stove, our chicken is being baked. We're gonna now prep for our vegetables. These are all the stuff that I'm using today. If you have your bell peppers, go right ahead and use it. If you have additional seasoning like maybe purple cabbage, oh my god, purple cabbage will give it a nice kick and taste even better. But I don't have any purple cabbage, so I'll go ahead with the white cabbage that I have. So you can go ahead and add whatever vegetable you have. You can go right ahead and use it. If you only have cucumbers, then go right ahead. So I have just a little bit of spinach that is left. I don't want it to be spoiled, so I'm just take them out. I wash them. I wash everything in vinegar first, then I wash them again with regular water. All right, so you can choose to do that as well. Try to wash your fruits and vegetables before you eat them all the time, before you store them and even after when you're about to use them. So I'm gonna go in and cut these as small as possible. So let's go right ahead and to cut all our vegetables. Let's do that. So we're doing everything together. So what I'm going to do, check on my sauce, make sure everything is coming together nicely. Now we're going to turn our flames off. All right, see, this is nice and rich and our sauce is about ready. Let's do our vegetables. Be sure to wash them in cold water. All right. So if you have hot and cold water in your pipe, be sure to use the cold water because the cold water kind of bring them back to life, you know, give them that nice springy look. So I'm just going to cut off that part and get rid of it. And then I'm going to cut it as fine as I can. So it depends on how you want it. I like when it cut nice and tiny to give it a better presentation when you are eating. So you can choose to cut it in the size that you want. So we're going to prepare our coconut milk. Now, if you have the authentic coconut, that's the best one to use. I don't have it, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the packed coconut. Whatever you're doing, it's always best to use the natural thing. You know, I really love doing that, but you know, you do your next best if you don't have. I will use some hot water to mix it. Some person go ahead and just add it straight to the pot. I prefer to do it this way, right? To help to measure the amount of water that I'm using in my pot. So I went ahead and I mix it around. Once it dissolved, I went ahead and added to the peas. Make sure your peas is not completely cooked. It's not cooked all the way. If not, you're going to get a really mushy rice and peas. I'm also gonna go in with some green onions. In Jamaica we call this scallion. All right, most persons what they do, they kind of just mash the scallion or crush the scallion and then add it. This is how my aunt teach me to do it. She said cut it tiny and then add it to the pot. This way it's dissolved and everybody eats scallion and they don't know. But when you do it the other way, you just see this long thing in your rice and peas and you're going to want to take it out and get rid of it. Nobody really wants to eat it that way. But whenever I do it this way, everybody gets scallion and eat it and they don't know. So this is how I like to do it. So go ahead and add this to the pot as well. If you have Scotch bonnet pepper, it's a great time to also add it. I'm going to go in with some thyme as well. It gives it a nice flavor. Some people add sugar to the rice and peas. I've never done it. And to be honest, I don't think I'm really ever going to be doing it. If anything that you can do to get rid of too much sweet, then do so. Remember to add salt to taste. Always taste as you go along. So I'm adding a little bit of salt, not adding too much because I'm going to go in with some butter. Remember, we're doing everything together. So we started our vegetable, pause it for a little bit, and we're coming back to the vegetable. Now I'm going ahead and I'm going to do my carrot as you see me doing here now. So what I'm doing, I'm adding the carrots to the lettuce, and I'm actually just mixing everything together. So as we go along, we mix. You don't have to do it that way either. Remember, I want you to do it the simplest way. You can wait until you're finishing everything, then you do one mix. It depends on the mood that I'm in. I'll decide how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go in with my cabbage. My knife actually needs to be sharpened because I like when I'm doing my cabbage, it's very, very tiny. All right, it gives it a better presentation. I promise you, if you were always cutting them very big, try doing it tiny and see. It gives it a nicer look. So these are actually a little bit too big, to be honest. Sometimes, I'm in a rush and I just go ahead and do it. But we're still doing our thing, all right? So let's continue. Remember, if you don't have all these vegetables, just use whatever you have. If you only have cabbage alone, use it. If you only have cucumber alone, use it. Just use whatever you have. If you have more things, go right ahead and use it. All right, don't stress yourself out because a little always go a far way. There's a little is much and God is in it, right? Whatever you're doing, just do it with love and just enjoy the process. I like making the presentation nice, although I'm the only one. I'm going to share the food and see that it presented this way, but for me makes a difference. And also I'm presenting it for you too, but I generally do this whether I'm doing it for you or not. So let's jump and see what our peas is basically cooked. So we're just gonna add the rice to this, and we're gonna, once you add it, mix it around. Remember, if you have scotch bonnet pepper, go right ahead and use it. If you follow me on this channel, you'll notice I would not be cooking with much pepper, if any at all, because my family doesn't enjoy pepper. I went ahead and added a little bit of butter. You don't have to. All right, but why not? Butter always give everything a nicer flavor, right? You can go ahead and just mix it around, mix everything around, and then you're gonna cover your lid and then allow your rice to cook. So let's check in on our chicken. So this is what our chicken is look like. Notice the water. I didn't cover it, and this brings all that water. It also gives it a little bit of color too, but we want a nicer color. So when we apply our sauce to it, then you're going to see the nice pretty color. Now guys, this water that you're throwing off the chicken, don't throw it away. All right, you're going to save it and you're going to use it to make the final sauce that you're going to enjoy. So we're basting our chicken. Notice the sauce is nice and thick. That's what you want. If it's thin, it's not going to work the way it's supposed to. So allow it to be nice and thick. Baste both sides. I like to turn it upside down, as you see here. I turn it upside down, add it to the oven. After 15 minutes, I turn it back around and baste it again, and then serve, make the last base serving upside down, if you understand what I mean. We're going to make a sauce for our vegetables. If you have, you can go ahead and use it, but I like making my own, even though I actually have in the fridge, but I don't really like those, so I'm making this one for myself. All right, I went ahead and add ketchup, mayonnaise, and a little bit of sugar and some vinegar. You can actually just use water and vinegar, and that works too. All right, so we want to make it as simple as possible. So vinegar, sugar alone works. All right, taste it if it tastes like what you would like, and if you need anything else, you would know what you need to add. All right, so I just go right ahead, and this tastes okay for me, so we'll leave it as it is. So our next clip is our final product. So this is our vegetable, this is our rice, and we are ready to serve him up. And this is our sauce. There is a presentation. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you did enjoy this video, and if you do, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. See you in the next one.